How often do you hear about a medical breakthrough that people are calling, genuinely transformative?
Yeah.
Or maybe the best shot we've had in like 40 years in a particular field?
Not very often, that's for sure.
Exactly. Well, today, that's precisely what we're diving into. We're focusing on the recent FDA approval of lenacapavir. It's a totally new drug for HIV prevention.
Right.
And to really get our heads around it, we've looked at reports from New Atlas, NBC News, ABC News Australia, and also the official press release from the company, Gilead Sciences.
A good range of sources there.
Yeah, trying to get the full picture.
Right.
So our mission today, basically to figure out why this drug, it's called Yeztugo, why it's such a huge deal in the fight against HIV.
Mm-hmm.
We want to explore how it works, the science bit, its potential impact across the globe, and really what it means for you and for communities everywhere. So let's start there. What's the big news everyone's buzzing about?
Well, the main headline, and it is significant, is that on June 18th, 2025, the U.S. FDA gave the green light to lenacapavir, the brand name being Yeztugo. And this isn't just, another pill or another option. It is the first and only HIV prevention method that you take just twice a year via injection.
Twice a year.
Twice a year. Available now in the U.S., it really signals a potential new era for HIV prevention, moving away from something you have to think about every single day to, well, something much less frequent.
Wow. Okay, we've touched on that dosing, which sounds incredible. But before we get into why that's such a game changer for people's lives, let's talk about the science.
Right.
We've had HIV prevention meds for a while.
Please.
Right, pre-exposure prophylaxis, things people who are HIV negative take to stay that way. So is Yeztugo just a better version of those, or is it doing something fundamentally new to stop the virus?
That's a really key question, and the answer is it's fundamentally new. Yeztugo isn't just an improvement. It's part of a completely new class of drugs. They're called capsid inhibitors.
Capsid inhibitors, okay.
Yeah. So basically, the HIV-1 virus, it has this essential protein shell called a capsid. Think of it like a little protective suit for the virus's genetic stuff.
Right.
And it absolutely needs this capsid to get into human cells and start making copies of itself. Lenacapavir targets this shell directly. It messes with it, stops the virus from completing those really early critical steps.
So it's hitting it earlier and differently than other drugs.
Exactly. It's a totally different mechanism compared to most other antivirals we use, which usually interfere at only one point in the virus's life cycle. This is like finding a whole new vulnerability.
That sounds like a pretty major shift in how we fight the virus. How big a deal is this in, the world of developing antiviral drugs?
Yeah.
And crucially, does it work well? How effective is this new approach?
It is a major shift, and the scientific community certainly thinks so. And yes, the effectiveness data, it's really, really impressive. Stunning, actually. New Atlas described it as offering almost 100% protection against HIV infection. And if you look at the big clinical trials, the phase 3 ones called Purpose 1 and Purpose 2, the results showed that basically 99.9% or more of the participants stayed HIV negative. That level of protection is, well, it's extraordinary.
Wow. And I saw something about one of those trials, Purpose 1, that was particularly striking. It focused on cisgender women in sub-Saharan Africa.
That's right.
And it reported 0 HIV infections. Is that correct? 0.
0. That's what the data showed in that specific group receiving lenacapavir. And NBC News also reported that it eliminated the spread in people who got the injection every 6 months.
Incredible.
Yeah, and ABC News Australia highlighted similar findings, a trial showing 100% effective in preventing HIV among young cisgender women in Africa. It's not just high efficacy, it's pushing towards complete prevention in these studies.
That level of success must have turned some heads.
Absolutely. It got significant recognition. In fact, the journal Science, they named lenacapavir its breakthrough invention of the year back in 2024.
Okay, wow.
So, yeah, it's not just a win in the clinic. It's seen as a huge step for public health globally. Really opens up new possibilities for prevention.
The science and the results are clearly impressive, no doubt. But often, for people listening, the real game changer part is how it affects daily life. Right?
Definitely.
So let's pivot to that twice-yearly dosing. Why is that such a massive deal? Most of us know pre-AP as a daily pill. How big a leap is it to just 2 shots a year?
Oh, it's a huge leap. Think about the main issue with daily pills. NBC News pointed this out, the simple question. Do I have to take it every single day?
Right. It sounds easy, but life gets in the way.
Exactly. How many of us forget vitamins, let alone a crucial medication? Missing doses with daily PEP can be a risk. It can cause stress, anxiety, or people just genuinely forget.
Yeah.
A shot twice a year, that completely changes the equation. It makes it so much easier for people to actually stick with the prevention plan. ABC News Australia called that aspect game-changing.
So it tackles that human element, the adherence problem, head on. How does this less frequent dosing help with some of the other big barriers we've seen with PrEP uptake for years?
This gets to the heart of Yes2Go's potential. The twice-yearly schedule directly addresses two major hurdles: adherence, like we said, and also stigma.
Ah, stigma.
Fewer doses obviously means less chance of forgetting. That's key for protection. But the stigma point is huge, too. ABC News Australia mentioned this needing a daily pill can be a constant, sometimes stressful, reminder of HIV risk.
I could see that.
Having something you only deal with twice a year can really reduce that mental burden, that triggering feeling for some individuals. It makes prevention feel less like a daily chore or secret and more like just part of your routine healthcare.
Like getting a flu shot, almost.
Sort of, yeah. A bit more involved, but that kind of frequency. As Dr. Carlos Del Rio at Emory University said, this could be the transformative PrEP option we've been waiting for. It's not just about convenience, it's about making it psychologically easier, too.
So who benefits most from something you only have to think about twice a year?
Well, honestly, a lot of people. Anyone with a really busy or complicated life, maybe working multiple jobs, doing shift work, people dealing with mental health challenges where daily routines can be tough,
Makes sense.
or just anyone really who finds sticking to a strict daily medication schedule difficult. But also, as we touched on, people who might not struggle with adherence but just find the daily pill a constant, maybe unwelcome reminder of HIV in their lives or communities.
Right.
This simplicity could seriously boost overall PvP uptake and help people stay on it, reaching folks who found the daily option just didn't work for them.
It's interesting looking back. The first daily PrEP pill, Truvada, was approved back in 2012, right?
That's right. Also by Gilead?
But uptake has been, well, lower than hoped. Only about 36% of eligible people in the U.S. were using it in 2022.
Yeah.
And there are known gaps, especially for women, Black and Hispanic communities, people in the South.
Yeah, significant gaps.
Does this new drug, Yes2Go, have a real shot at closing those gaps?
I think it has a very real shot, yes. Those persistent gaps really tell us something important. Even the best medical tools don't work if they don't fit into people's real lives.
Right.
You have to account for adherence issues, yes, but also systemic inequities, access problems, the psychological side of things, the sheer simplicity of a twice-yearly injection, needing less daily management. That could be key to overcoming some specific barriers.
Making it more appealing or accessible for those underserved groups.
Exactly. It might make PrEP seem more manageable, less burdensome for the very populations who haven't been reached effectively by daily options. Yes2Go's success might even teach us broader lessons about designing health interventions that are truly patient-focused, not just clinically effective. It seems designed to tackle those disparities.
Okay, shifting gears a bit.
Right.
Beyond the medicine itself, Gilead announced something pretty major about access. They called it an unprecedented approach, setting aside profit for people. What's that about?
Yeah, this is another really significant part of the story, and potentially quite groundbreaking for the industry.
Okay.
Gilead has partnered with the Global Fund, the organization that fights AIDS, TB, and malaria. They've committed to supplying up to 2 million doses of Yes2Go over 3 years. And here's the key part. They'll supply these doses to low and lower middle income countries at no profit to Gilead.
No profit.
Zero profit. It's a huge commitment. It suggests they're thinking beyond just immediate commercial returns and focusing on broad, equitable access, which is critical for global health. It could set a new kind of standard.
That is a remarkable move for a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
I also saw a mention of royalty-free licenses. How does that fit in? What does that mean for getting the drug out there, especially where HIV rates are high?
That's another piece of the access puzzle. Gilead has signed agreements, royalty-free, with 6 generic drug manufacturers.
Okay, so other companies can make it.
Exactly. These generic companies are licensed to produce lenacapavir for 120 countries specifically, ones with high HIV rates and limited resources.
And royalty-free means Gilead doesn't take a cut from those sales.
Correct. It allows for potentially much cheaper generic versions to be made and distributed widely in the places that need it most urgently. It's crucial for tackling the epidemic in regions where it's still surging.
Yeah.
Peter Sands, who leads the Global Fund, put it really well. He said this isn't just science, it's a potential game changer for HIV/AIDS, but, and this is the crucial but, only if we get it to the people who need it most.
That really underlines the importance of access.
Absolutely. These licensing deals are designed to make that happen, enabling local production and driving down costs.
That's incredibly important on a global scale. Now, bringing it back home, for listeners in the U.S., what about cost and access here? Breakthrough drugs can sometimes be expensive.
That's always a concern, yeah. Gilead has programs in place. For people with commercial insurance, they have something called the Advancing Access Copay Savings Program.
Okay.
For eligible people, this can bring their out-of-pocket costs down to $0.
Zero. Okay, that's significant.
It is. And for people who are uninsured and eligible, there's a Medication Assistance Program, or MAP, that provides Yes2Go completely free of charge.
So they seem to be trying to cover the basis for affordability here, too.
It appears so. The goal seems to be minimizing cost as a barrier, both globally and domestically, even for a new advanced medication like this.
That's good to hear. And are other countries catching up? Is this rolling out beyond the U.S. anytime soon?
Yes, it seems to be moving quite quickly on the global regulatory front. Approvals are apparently already in process in places like Australia, Brazil, Canada, South Africa, Switzerland.
Okay, a wide range.
Yeah, and applications are expected soon in Argentina, Mexico, Peru, and likely others. It shows a pretty coordinated push to make it available worldwide, recognizing the need isn't just in one place.
All right, this all sounds incredibly promising. But with any new medication, especially one like this, there are always important things users need to know, right? Safety considerations.
Absolutely essential. And there are some critical points here. First off, Yes2Go comes with a boxed warning from the FDA that's the most serious kind.
Okay, what does it say?
It stresses that individuals must be tested for HIV-1 infection before they start Yes2Go. And this is crucial. They need to be tested again before every single subsequent injection.
Before every shot. Why is that so important?
It's vital to prevent drug resistance. If someone were to unknowingly become HIV positive while on Yes2Go for prevention, the drug alone isn't enough to treat the infection.
Ah, I see.
Continuing Yes2Go in that situation could lead to the virus developing resistance, making future HIV treatments less effective. So if someone does test positive while using Yes2Go, they need to switch immediately to a full standard HIV treatment regimen.
Okay, that testing requirement is really key then. What about side effects? Anything common people should expect?
The most common side effects reported are generally mild to moderate. Things like reactions at the injection site. Redness, swelling, maybe some pain.
Pretty standard for injections.
Yeah. Also, headache and nausea were reported fairly commonly.
And the injection itself. Any special precautions there?
Yes, it's important that it's given correctly. It's a subcutaneous injection, meaning just under the skin. Proper technique is needed to avoid rare but more serious injection site issues, things like necrosis, which is tissue damage, or ulcers, like open sores. Healthcare providers will obviously manage this, but it's good for patients to be aware.
Good to know. Now, because it's only twice a year, it must stay in the body for a long time, right? These long-acting properties.
Exactly. That's why it works for 6 months. Lenacapavir, or traces of it, can actually remain in the body for up to 12 months, maybe even longer, after the last shot.
Wow, a full year.
Which is great for protection, but it also highlights why sticking to the injection schedule and continuing the HIV testing is so critical. That long tail means long-term protection, but also a long-term need for monitoring to make sure it's still working and to catch any potential issues, like a new infection, early.
Okay, so adherence to the schedule and the testing is paramount.
Paramount.
And amidst all this incredible progress, a drug this effective, this convenient, we still need to remember the bigger picture, don't we?
We absolutely do. It's vital to underscore that despite this amazing step forward in prevention, there is still currently no cure for HIV or AIDS.
Right. A critical distinction.
Yes2Go is a powerful new tool to stop new infections, offering so much hope. But the fight continues for those already living with HIV, and the search for a cure remains a top priority.
And what about the future for lenacapavir itself? Is research continuing? Are there other things on the horizon?
Oh yes, the research doesn't stop here. They're actively looking into developing even more long-acting options based on lenacapavir.
Like what?
Things like different injectable formulations, maybe even long-acting oral versions eventually, and also combination therapies. The goal is really to create a whole suite of options.
To suit different needs.
Exactly. To better address the diverse needs and preferences of all the different people who could benefit from PrEP, imagine a future where prevention choices are so varied and easy, they just seamlessly fit into anyone's life, whatever their circumstances. That seems to be the direction.
So just to recap, we've really unpacked a major development today with Yeztugo, a highly effective HIV prevention drug given just twice a year by injection. It looks set to make prevention much more accessible and overcome some really stubborn barriers like daily adherence and stigma.
That sums it up well, yeah. A potential paradigm shift.
But beyond the drug itself, that access strategy you mentioned from Gilead, waiving royalties, the no-profit commitment for millions in lower-income countries,
Yeah.
that feels different.
It does. It's quite striking.
What does that signal, you think? When a major pharmaceutical company takes a step like that with such a breakthrough product, how might this whole approach, both the drug and the access plan, influence global health beyond just HIV?
That's a really interesting question to ponder, isn't it? It definitely raises the bar. This model, prioritizing rapid, widespread, equitable access, even potentially sacrificing some short-term profit for a critical new tool, it could serve as a blueprint, perhaps.
A blueprint for other diseases or future pandemics.
Possibly. It suggests a way forward where collaboration between industry, governments, and global health groups can accelerate progress against major health threats. Maybe it shows a path for tackling things like TB, malaria, neglected tropical diseases, or being better prepared for the next pandemic.
Yeah.
It puts a real focus on equity alongside innovation.
Right. So connecting it all to the really big picture, what does this new way of thinking about drug access and delivery actually mean for how we fight other huge global health challenges? It's definitely something to think about long after this deep dive ends. Could this be a turning point?
It certainly could be. It's a question that could genuinely shape public health and medicine for years, even decades to come.